afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. This is J.R. Moore and Morrison, substituting for Dr. Bill Deagle here on the NutriMedical Report on Friday, the 15th day of February, year of our Lord, 2013. Good afternoon, Ann.
Good afternoon, John, and belated Happy Valentine's Day.
Well, thank you. Same to you, my dear. We have some comments to talk about, I believe, don't we?
Yeah, let's talk about first this meteor that came in this.
We talked about that this morning on my show, and I cannot get over the fact that, and it is a fact apparently, that this event happened 12 hours before we had any notice on our side of the planet, which I found rather extraordinary.
I think that's extraordinary too. Now, it was coming in very fast, and it was coming in through the dark. But I'm sure that the radar, at least the military radar, must have caught it as it came in. But apparently there were no alerts that were sent out anyplace. And there was a shock wave, and it knocked down walls, and it blew out windows, and people who rushed to the windows to see were hurt by the flying glass. Apparently there have been, it shattered about 18 to 32 miles high, so that's way above the jet stream.
Right.
And They say it was traveling at 33,000 miles per hour, and the number of people injured has risen to 1,000.
Do we have any idea of fatalities?
They're not saying. They do say there were a number of children, and they're not saying exactly how many. There were three meteor craters, and they show two of them landed in a big reservoir, and they showed the ice was just a perfect circle.
Right.
I don't know if they're going to go down and examine those meteor craters, but one of them built a crater on land, so there were at least three pieces big enough to make meteor craters, and they say it was 10 tons. And I don't think you're going to stop a 10-ton rock traveling at 33,000 miles per hour with a missile unless it's a nuclear warhead.
Right. It would take a lot of force to do that. I don't know how much power these space-based laser weapons have or what they're really capable of, so it's not really possible for me to even comment on that. Well, today was certainly a moment in history that when we woke up, actually the event was yesterday. We woke up this morning finding out about it, and with 1,000 people being injured, almost without a doubt there had to be some fatalities.
I would guess so. It happened at 9:20 in the morning, and that was about 12. It was about 180 degrees. It was on the opposite side of the earth from where we live.
Right.
So that was about 9:20 p.m. that it happened, and I watched the news up until 10 p.m. and there was nothing on the news about it. It was just astonishing that apparently it went on to YouTube, and eventually the mainstream news caught wind of it and started publishing pictures. I suppose as they took them off of YouTube or got them directly from people who were there.
Right.
It was an astonishing thing to see.
It was.
And I think we can expect more. Now they're saying this is a 1 in 10-year event. But we have 3 comets coming into the solar system this year, and that is astonishing. The last time we saw a comet was Halley's Comet, and wasn't that in 87 or something?
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while. And we have 3 comets coming into the solar system, and they're bound to bring a debris field. And I'm not sure that this meteor wasn't part of the debris field from the asteroid DA-14 that passed by. At least that's what they're saying, is that it passed by.
Right.
And I would like to see the numbers on the altitude before I...
That would have been, about 3 hours ago, give or take a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this first comet that will be coming through our solar system, it's L4, Lima 4, in March, and It's called Pan-STARRS, based on the observing equipment?
Exactly. It was discovered by the Pan-STARRS equipment. That's an orbiting satellite, and its designation is C-2011L4, and it's going to cross the orbit of Mercury, and that means that it's going, Mercury is the first planet out from the sun. So Mercury rotates once as it rotates around the sun. So one side of Mercury is always facing the sun, and the other side is always facing the dark.
Really?
And yeah, this is a very strange.
Yeah, you're right. I've heard that. I haven't thought about it in a while. Yep.
So this L4 is coming in inside that orbit of Mercury. So it's going to be very, very close to the sun, and because it's going to be close to the sun, where you want to be looking for it is in the sunset skies of early March, and that's when it passes closest to the sun and Earth. And and so I'm looking at the orbit diagram that anybody can get up on the JPL website. You can jump to it from spaceweather.com. And it doesn't look to me, now it looks to me like it's going to pass on the opposite side of the sun than Earth. And that's on March 12th. And that's when it will be closest to the sun, and it will be at 0.3 astronomical units.
Right.
And an astronomical unit is the distance between the Earth and the sun.
Okay.
So the Earth distance is going to be more than an astronomical unit because it's passing on the other side of the sun. Now, it's possible that as this comet, this Pan-STARRS L4, comes into the solar system, it's going to, you know how our solar system is kind of like a pancake?
Right, exactly.
Well, this comet is coming in like a fork would. If you stick your fork in your pancake, so it's not coming in on the plane of the solar system.
Okay.
So it's not going to pass. It's not going to pass close enough to the orbits to leave a debris field. And it says that it's going to brighten on March 10th, and it could emerge glowing as brightly as the third magnified star, similar to the stars in the Big Dipper.
Really?
However, this is a very strange comet. It's never been to the inner solar system before. It's coming in from what's called the Oort cloud. Now, the Oort cloud is it's an imaginary place.
Okay.
We're not sure where the Oort cloud is.
We are. Okay.
Somebody said that, well, we've got these meteors that come in, these comets that come in, and they're on a hyperbolic path, and they must come from someplace. Therefore, wherever they're coming from, we're going to call that the Oort cloud.
Oh, come on, really?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very scientific, Ann.
Well, it's a hypothesis.
Yeah, obviously.
And until they disprove it, it remains the hypothesis that they use, or until somebody makes another hypothesis.
Uh-huh.
So it's never been warmed by the sun. In fact, it's probably as cold as anything could be in outer space, and it could just bake out near the sun and disappear, or it could brighten, and then we'll see it right after sunset.
Okay, hold that thought. We got a break. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back. Morrison. We're joined by Alexander Bachman. My website is thelibertyman.com. Ann's is Homeland-Defense #4 linked on my links page. And Alexander, good afternoon, sir. Give us your website if you would, please.
Sure. Our Spanish site is Conciencia Radio. That's with all C's, concienciaradio.com, and Alexander Backman or Bachman.com.
Spell Backman, if you would.
Backman, Bravo, Alpha, Charlie, Kilo,
Mike Alpha November.
Mike Alpha November, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, because there are two popular ways to spell it, with a K or with a H hotel. Anyway, Alexander, Ann and I got calls from you at 04:30 this morning, local time. I was up, Ann was not quite awake, and we started talking about this comet today, and off the air, the three of us were talking about how unusual, at least in my opinion, and bizarre, something this major, a major natural catastrophe, would go unreported in major Western news media for almost half a day.
Well, you know, with the information coming out right now that the Washington Times, I think it's the Washington Post and the New York Times, are under a special vetting process by the CIA. You know, it doesn't surprise me because the United States is under a very tight leash when it comes to the mainstream media. Whatever they want to tell you is what they tell you, and you have to depend on the international media in order to get the facts straight, because it's not even balanced, it's not even fair. And I'm not saying that Fox News is not balanced and fair, it's not. But anyway, we know that this is an incredible event that, immediately went international. It's an international event of great magnitude, $30 million in damage, thousands of windows shattered by the shockwave of this meteorite that exploded in the upper atmosphere and the stratosphere, and then just went flying down over the Ural Mountains on the border with Kazakhstan. So yeah, it's a very big deal what happened. I mean, because they're at very cold temperatures right now, sub-zero temperatures, -6 centigrades, and the people don't have any windows. How are they going to heat up? And another thing that's very important, an after effect of this meteor shower that hit our planet, we have a report out of Italian mainstream media of a celestial body exploding over Cuban airspace this morning. Quote, residents of a locality in the central region of Cuba say they had seen an object that fell from the sky and exploded with a great noise, which shook the houses of the region. It is learned from testimonies collected by local television in Cuba. The report released this morning by Rodas agency over there in Cuba is about a town in the province of Cienfuegos. This was, the witnesses described a very bright light that has come to have a large size comparable to that of a bus before exploding in the sky. So I believe this is an after effect of what happened in Russian airspace, because it was on the northern hemisphere.
Right. Well, very likely these may be companion objects that were more or less traveling together through space. Wouldn't you agree, Ann?
You can talk about coincidence, but you also have to talk about the fact that, one thing causes another, and it's just, the chances of a meteor falling through the sky and hitting the ground are what? Well, they're astronomical.
Right.
And the chances of an asteroid coming in close enough to the Earth underneath the satellites, the communication satellites, are astronomical. And for the two events to happen together, I think that there's, I think either the asteroid bent the path of the meteor. The meteor was much smaller than the asteroid, so the gravitational force would have been bigger. It would have been pulled along with the asteroid and could have just slingshotted into the atmosphere. I don't think we're through. I think that there are probably other meteors that are traveling with this asteroid. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to be going through debris field from the comets. We have 3 comets that are coming into the solar system this year.
Right. Well, it's going to be an interesting year, and it already is. It has been so far. And we've got some more comets to talk about, I believe, don't we?
Yes, I wanted to talk about so we have this one that's coming in on early March, that we should be able to see unless it falls into the sun. And then we have one that's coming, and the only reason it really wouldn't fall in the sun, it just might burn out because it's going from very cold to the sun temperature, which is very hot. Now, we have one coming in April 18th, and that's called Lemon. And it's a green comet. It's something that we know about. It follows the hyperbolic path, not a hyperbolic path, a parabolic path.
Right.
And the reason that it puts on, right now, it's putting on a great show down in the southern hemisphere. In other words, it's coming in from the South Pole, and the reason it grows green, the color is green, is because the nucleus contains cyanogen, which is a poisonous gas found in many comets, and diatomic carbon. And both substances glow green when illuminated by sunlight in the near vacuum of space. So it was first seen on last March 23rd, 2012, by the Mount Lemmon survey in Arizona. And so that's why they call it Lemon.
Right.
The designation, in case you want to plot the orbit up at the JPL-NEO site, is C stands for comet. You really don't need to put that on. 2012 space F6. And as they discovered when they were looking, it was first discovered a year ago, but it's on an elliptical orbit with a period of almost 11,000 years. Now that sounds very familiar. An 11,000-year orbit with a period, and it's coming in from the southern hemisphere.
That would be the third cycle. We're looking basically at a 3,600-year cycle for a lot of these events, but there's also an 11 to 12,000 year, and of course, when I name these years, they're estimates based on their best information. It's not a precise number, is it, Ann?
No. They give us something that we can remember.
Right.
And if you want to get into astronomy, you can go to school for 7 years.
Oh yeah. And then continue studying. Astronomy is one of those things where your education never ends, does it?
It never ends. Anyway, it's going to come in about the same distance as Venus, so it'll be at 0.7 astronomical units. An astronomical unit is the distance between the sun and the Earth. And it will be from the Earth, it'll be 1.7 astronomical units. Hold that thought,
Ann. We got another break. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. This is a NutriMedical Report. J.R. Moore, Ann Morrison, and Alexander Bachman substituting for Dr. Deagle. It's Dr. Deagle's birthday today, guys, and it seems like there might be some celestial celebration going on with Dr. Deagle's birthday. Don't you agree, Ann and Alexander?
Well, I think Dr. Deagle was using one of his new weapons over Russian airspace.
What was that, Ann?
Sorry.
What did you say, Ann? You got covered up.
I said, do you want to start with the lightning strike on the Vatican?
Yeah, the Vatican got hit by lightning. Was it nighttime when that happened?
Yeah, 6 p.m. at dusk. Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess we could attach all kinds of significance to that. Was there a thunderstorm going on, or did it come out of a dry sky?
It was a dry sky. It was nice and clear.
Really?
Yeah, well, I saw the video. I mean, I didn't see any clouds in the sky.
Okay.
No, it was probably raining, yeah?
Lightning out of a dry sky does happen, but, I guess we could draw all kinds of conclusions from that.
I think Alexander had a Bible reference on that.
I'm sorry, Ann, I can't hear you. There's this static in the background.
Yeah, I know. I hear it too. What was your Bible reference for that? To the lightning. The Bible reference.
Okay, Luke, I think it's Luke 10:18 that Jesus, when he spoke, he said that he beheld, he saw Satan coming down from heaven as a lightning bolt from heaven. So maybe these are, harbinger signs of something more sinister behind the scenes, some supernatural events here, because, I mean, the odds of, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, the odds of a meteor, striking Russia exactly, 1 day after or 2 days after NASA putting out this report alerting the UN on space, anomalous space weather for this year, and taking into account the resignation of Joseph Ratzinger out of the Vatican, because there's apparently an arrest warrant out for him. So that's why he's resigning.
What jurisdiction is that coming from?
It's coming out of one of the European countries. We have not been told which country it is, but behind the scenes, there's an arrest warrant out for the Pope, and that's why he's resigning.
If he was to remain in the Vatican, I'm sure the Vatican would not honor that arrest warrant.
Well, no, because they have their own internal laws. They cover up criminals. It's the biggest criminal or crime syndicate in the world.
Right.
It's a country. It's not even an institution.
It's a sovereign, yeah. The Vatican, of course, is a sovereign state, and they would clearly grant immunity to the Pope. So I don't believe the man's going to be arrested.
Well, what's going on is that he sent a letter to the President Giorgio Napolitano of Italy asking him for a meeting on the 23rd of February. And he's asking for this meeting in order to seek immunity and by the Italian state. So things are getting interesting because today the Pope just announced that he assigned a new director for the Vatican Bank.
Really?
Yeah, there was a vacancy in the slot, in the position. Nobody wanted it for the last 9 months because of the money laundering.
Well, that would be smart not to get involved with a outfit that's involved in money laundering.
Yeah, well, they put this Illuminati puppet from the Netherlands in there. So, what's happening is a great revelation of signs within the Catholic institution, because as you know, the prophecies are fulfilling themselves with regard to them about the last Pope coming into view. And at alexanderbachman.com, I put a special image all the way at the bottom for anybody who wants to check it out. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the Vatican is one of those institutions that has, gained a reputation where that quote really applies to them,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, they've had absolute power within the confines of the Vatican now for nearly 2,000 years, and if anything would tend to corrupt, that would certainly be it, wouldn't it, Alexander?
Yeah, and if we take into account, the mass media programming that Hollywood brings out, and we see that movie, Angels and Demons by this book from the Illuminati puppet Dan Brown. It is a fictitious movie, but, it starts with the CERN Collider, and they harness this energy, and there's the Illuminati, and they're trying to explode this antimatter particle that they have housed in one of a vacuum cylinder or whatever, a terrorist type of event, and it's all around the assassination of a pope, and basically the Vatican is destroyed in the movie. So I think this is a rhetoric that we've seen once and once again. It's just a matter of time, eventually, that maybe another meteor shower will hit the Vatican. I mean, the way things are going, it's really strange, that these things are happening right now, but they are, and we have to pay attention because these earthquake swarms, for example, in the southern Pacific are worrying me a lot. They're continuing and continuing. They're not stopping.
Well, of course, the Ring of Fire has always had many, many earthquakes. Are there any more comments we need to be talking about here, Ann?
Yes, I wanted to finish talking about Lemon, and that will be the close approach to the sun will be close to the orbit of Venus, and Earth is going to be on the other side of the sun, so we won't, it'll be late March when it approaches the sun, and then we'll first get a good look from the northern hemisphere in early April, and I have down here April 18th, as that's when it hits the sun. Until then, it's just for astronomers in the southern hemisphere. Then the third comet that we know is coming into the solar system is ISON, I-S-O-N, and for those that want to draw the orbit diagram, it's 2012 space S1, and it's going to put on an unforgettable display. Now, the problem is with ISON is it's going to approach the sun. It's going to fly only 745,000 miles through the sun's outer atmosphere. And that's like this close approach with the asteroid that we had today. This comet is going to brush the sun, and they say that it could emerge glowing as brightly as the moon, visible near the sun in the blue daylight sky. So that means we might have two suns in the sky starting, right after November 28th and through December.
Right.
So this because it's such a tight orbit, it's coming into the solar system inside the orbit of Mercury, but of course if it's less than 1 million miles from the sun, it's so close to the sun, it's not going to disturb the orbit of Mercury. It looks like that is the one that might, though, create a flare, because it will have kinetic energy associated with it, and the sun might send out a flare in its direction, and that flare could impact Earth and Venus. So towards the end of this year, things could be very dicey as far as solar flares or a kill shot from the sun to the Earth.
Well, as we said earlier, it's going to be a very interesting year, isn't it?
It truly is, and I think we're very lucky to be living in an age and time when this is happening. I have never, the last comet I remember was in 87, and here we're having 3 in 1 year.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And there could be more, couldn't there?
And there could be more.
We got another break, guys. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be back after the break with a NutriMedical report. A beautiful world, and this is J.R. Moore and Ann Morrison and Alexander Bachman substituting for Dr. Bill Deagle here on NutriMedical Report on Friday the 15th of February. And did we exhaust the list of comments yet?
Yeah, that was the list of comments. I did want to mention an earthquake, and it's had numerous aftershocks. Now, I've explained to you how the North American tectonic plate actually holds Japan and the Kamchatka Peninsula. In other words, the Mongolia, the highest point that before you get to the Arctic Circle, that is the boundary of where the plate tectonics are between the North American tectonic plate and the Eurasian tectonic plate. And there have been a series. There was a 6.6, and there's been a 4.8, and there's been other earthquakes on that fault line in Russia. And really? that is very strange, because it usually, it's a, what do you call it? It's on a continent, and it's in the Russian continent, and it's up close to the Arctic Circle. So it's close to the Arctic Circle. 2, it's on land. It's not out in the ocean. And 3, a 6.6 is a good-sized earthquake. So now that would be where the North American plate would be pushing under the Eurasian plate. and we've got at least 3 or 4 earthquakes up there. I mean, we've had the magnitude 6.6, and then we've had 3 or 4 aftershocks.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, the earthquakes just keep coming more frequently, more severe, don't they, Ann?
They do, and we can expect. Now, people said the asteroid didn't create any earthquake, and I tend to believe them. But at the same time, we are having a series of earthquakes that are along this tectonic plate boundary, which we haven't seen before. This is at 67 degrees north. So, we only go to 90 degrees north. So if we say it's 70, if we round up to 70, right. We're only 20 degrees away from the North Pole. Right. Now, it was rather deep. It was, it was 83 miles deep. No, I'm sorry. It was only 6 miles deep. And I suspect if there had been anybody living around there, there might have been damage. Of course, there's nothing around there.
Right. Well, let's do a little segue here. And Alexander, I want to ask you if is there any other matters of importance you're paying attention to?
Yeah, we have serious matters. We have a new form of alliance. Now it's open and it's big. It's called the new narco jihad. So better learn that tag word because it's going to be going viral around the world very soon. I'm sticking my neck out here, but the Zetas are already hunting down multiple people that are setting up web pages in all of Mexico because they are fed up with the military and the armed forces and the police not doing their job. Mexico right now is considered, it has 9 cities among the 50 most dangerous cities in the world. Acapulco is number 2 at that. With the recent massive rape of these Spanish tourists in their hotel rooms, where these thugs went in about a week and a half ago and gang raped all the people there. Acapulco has a very bad reputation right now around the world because of the high crime rate, and the Zetas operating in the 4 southern regions of Mexico, recruiting people for their army along the northern border. So they recruit the people, telling them they're going to pay them 1,000 pesos. That's about $100 per kill. So
to kill whom?
To kill anybody. They just work for organized crime.
So basically mercenaries at that point.
Yeah, they're mercenaries. And the Zetas right now made a huge alliance with the jihad in Western and Northern Africa, the Sahara, with a guy called, I got his name around here. It's kind of complicated. Anyway, they call him the Marlboro Man. This is the guy in Algeria that was behind the taking of the refinery.
Right.
And that killed 30-some people, and they took hostage this entire refinery, oil refinery that belonged to, I think it was BP. And that terrorist event was directed by this guy. Now, this guy was this is like this guy has strategic alliances with al-Zawahiri out of Al-Qaeda, the number 2 Al-Qaeda guy.
Right.
So, yeah, this guy is kind of dangerous. Just type in Mr. Marlboro Man. He's famous because of the Marlboro smuggling routes that that made him famous in Africa into Europe. Now he's moving all the cocaine shipments into Europe via Africa, via the rogue states in Western Africa, from South America and Mexico. Now, the Islamization of the cartels is very important to mention because it's spiraling out of control. Now we have more and more narcs turning jihadists. So now it's a narco jihad. So Mexico is turning officially now into a narco jihad state.
That is really scary, Alexander.
Yeah, we talked about it. Remember that?
I do, and those 20 families that run Mexico like a private club, are they losing control of these people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like, Mexico is really out of control. I believe that the top businessmen and the people that have all the power, they just fly in their little helicopters and they don't even get in a car anymore. Mexico is really getting violent and dangerous. So yeah, here I have the name of this new form of narco jihad. His name is Mokhtar Belmokhtar, and this guy is running all the drugs and anything that he can get his hands on. He owns the entire Sahara region, from Nigeria all the way through Mali, and he's the guy that everybody wants to hunt down. That's why they did this little mini war over there in Mali just recently, with Western forces. Amazing. So this guy formed a new terror group in the region. He used to be aligned with the Al-Qaeda Maghreb Islamic group, the AQMI, and basically he went rogue, and now he formed his new organization that has to do with red blood, the spilling of red blood. He has one eye. They call him the one-eyed man.
Really?
Yeah, so these are like bandits in the desert, but these guys are really forced to reckon with because they have a huge economical support by the Latin American cartels now, and now we have the new narco jihad.
Well, it's getting really serious down there, and my heart goes out to the honest, hardworking Mexicans, which, of course, is the majority of the people there that have to deal with this. And I know Mexico was having the military do police duties to try to get around the corruption. Has that had any success?
Well, no, the situation, again, the new president, Enrique Peña Nieto, is not doing his job adequately. He's saying that he's going to monitor the serious criminal hotspots and locations, and they're going to put reinforced vigilance and security. But in fact, right now in Guerrero, which is the state where Acapulco is, small cities are now taking up arms. The citizens are getting armed finally, and this is what we've been shouting for years now in Mexico, because we need a law that authorizes that Mexican citizens have a right to bear arms. Right. I mean, we wouldn't have this problem with the cartels. We would get them out of our cities if we had weapons. We have the same situation in Chihuahua on the border with the United States, where entire towns are taking up arms, and because the police is not doing its job, the state police is not doing its job, because they're too afraid to do their job, and the military is already corrupt.
It's truly amazing. Now, that one state down there in southern Mexico,
Guerrero,
local citizens have been taking up machetes and old swords and old 22s.
No, rifles, automatic rifles.
To try to bring some order. How's that going down there?
Very well. I mean, the people are taking back their towns, and they're getting weapons, and we're talking about semi-automatic weapons. We're talking about rifles, assault rifles, and regular rifles,
And the government's more or less leaving them alone to bring order and restore order?
Yeah, because they can't do their job anymore. There's lawlessness in the land,
John.
John.
That's a good thing. Alexander, we are out of time, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, God bless all of you.
And thank you for being with us.
All right. Thank you, John.
That's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Deagle will be back next week. You'll have a blessed and safe week.